following program is intended for mature audiences.
Some days one ball may feel good, the next day it may not. I think that's a very important issue. Everybody has a preference. Some guys like them round and some guys like them thin. Some guys like old balls. They're all different.
I've handled dozens of balls over the past week.
I don't think anybody knew there was an issue with the balls.
To me, those balls are perfect. I can only speak for myself. I don't want anyone touching the balls, rubbing the balls. To me, those balls are perfect.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
The Red Wings are in first?
The Red Wings are in first place in the East, yes.
In the entire conference or just their division?
In the East.
No. They are tied with the Islanders with 65 points for first overall in the Eastern Conference.
Isn't that insane, though?
Didn't we all pick the Red Wings to not even make the playoffs this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone picked the Red. They thought, well, you know what? They got the last seed last year, and they didn't do a whole lot. They're going to rely on Datsuk and Zetterberg, and they're going to be injured, of course.
You know they're going to win the Cup, right?
They're just like growing Swedish superstars in a vat somewhere, and that's what's going on.
They are the New England Patriots of the NHL. As much as you want them to go away, they just won't go away.
Let's be fair to the Red Wings. They have a properly inflated tire as their logo.
I am so sick and tired of Deflategate or whatever we're calling it. Ball-ghazi, whatever.
I prefer ball-ghazi.
Yeah, it's because it's different. I like it. Deflategate, it's like, oh, deflate and gate rhyme, but it's clunky. I don't really like it.
No.
Ball-ghazi. I like that.
By the way, I admire the balls on Robert Kraft. It's just like his press conference. You know what?
Demand an apology from the NFL.
Screw all of you.
So what's the latest with that whole nonsense?
The latest is the NFL had zeroed in on a potential suspect. Well, that potential suspect turned out to be, from a Jake Glazer report, to be a ball boy.
Oh, the ball boy that went in the bathroom, right?
Right, the ball boy. And they're like, oh, well, duh, the ball boy. That makes sense. And then Pro Football Talk got the surveillance video that shows he was in the bathroom in 90 seconds.
No way in hell he deflated all those footballs in 90 seconds. There's just no way.
Right.
Because how many did he have? What is it? Was there 12 or something like that?
Right. But and the thing is, too, he had both teams' footballs.
So he had total of 24, basically.
24 footballs, 2 bags.
No
one
way.
with the Patriots, one with the Colts.
No way. I think he just had to relieve himself, and he took the balls in there with him because that's the smart thing to do. And wow.
And then on Saturday, Bill Belichick comes out and tries to give us, his science fair and explain how ball pressure works. Wilson, the company that makes the NFL footballs,
right?
Basically debunked everything he said. He's like, yeah, no, that's not how any of that works.
Do you know those footballs, just a little side note here, they are built, or not built, I guess assembled or whatever you want to call it, manufactured probably an hour away from me. The entire factory that makes all of them is over in somewhere in west of here. I can't remember the name of the town.
So it's your fault then?
I'll take you know what?
You intercepted those footballs?
If it'll make it go away, yeah, I'll take the blame for it. We'll set up a press conference right now. Do you have any questions?
Bill Nye the Science Guy also debunked it, so it's official. The thing that's stupid is that it was on Bill Simmons' podcast, his friend Jacko.
Yeah.
He brought up the fact that if it was just the weather or something that could be easily dismissed, wouldn't somebody have just said, yeah, or somebody in the NFL have been like, yeah, that's what happened? Or if the referees just didn't do their job properly, like, yeah, well, that's what happened, and sorry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's only one other explanation, and that's that the Patriots did some of the footballs.
This is going to be the highest-rated Super Bowl ever because of this. Even the people that don't normally watch it are going to tune in for a little bit because CNN is leading with this story. Local newscasts are leading with this stupid story. Yeah, it looks bad for the NFL, but come on. When considering all the things they could have been talking about with the NFL right now, this is great for them. No one's talking about Ray Rice or Adrian Peterson or any of that other nonsense now at the time of the year where the entire world is focused on the NFL. Nope, they're talking about the deflating footballs or whatever.
Again, I just don't see it as a big deal because I don't think it factored into anything.
I had heard that the Colts noticed this when they played during the regular season and brought it to the attention of the referees and said, look, keep an eye on these footballs, and that's how the whole thing got started in the first place.
So if this was something they noticed during the regular season, why didn't anything come of it then?
Nothing came of it then because they didn't bring it up to anybody. Depending on what version of the events you hear, they either brought it up to the league then or before they played in the AFC Championship game. And so the NFL then checked the balls at halftime because of that, or it was because the Colts intercepted the ball. They kept the ball because it was a playoff interception.
Right.
And one of the ball boys who was feeling the ball said, well, this is pretty underdeflated, and went and told Pagano, this is what makes sense to me. They knew about it. They brought it up to the NFL, and maybe nothing happened at the time. Because it was like, okay, we'll keep an eye on it if it happens again or something like that. Then fast forward to the playoff game, and the ball boy says, hey, the ball is deflated. So Pagano says, okay, so they did it again. And then goes to the referee and says, hey, their balls are deflated. Then they check them at halftime and find that they are, but then reinflate them and continue. The result is stuck in your head, Mike, but that's not the point. It's the fact that if they were doing this then, it's reasonable to assume that they've been doing it before, or that they have other ways that they try to bend the rules into their favor.
Yes, no, you're right. It's reasonable to assume that. The thing is that assumption isn't proof, and you can't go off and say, well, everything that this team has done is invalid because I have a suspicion, even if it's a reasonable suspicion that it's happened before. That's part of my point, is that you can say, well, okay, yes, maybe it has happened before, and maybe it happened before in important games, but assumption isn't proof, and you can't say, purge the record books because I think that it might have happened.
Well, no, but if
people aren't
using
purging the record books. When Belichick and Brady are done, and you go back and you go to, praise the New England Patriots, or write their obituary for this generation of New England Patriots. This is first paragraph sort of thing. They won 3 out of 6 or 4 out of 6 Super Bowls, but they were also accused of cheating several times.
Right.
Caught in a couple instances.
No matter what the outcome of this is, unless they come up with definitive proof that they had nothing to do with this, which they haven't proven.
If this goes unanswered and there's no punishment ever, and they don't say anything,
right,
it's still there.
Until they, like you said, they haven't proven that they have done it, but no one's proven that they haven't either. And as long as that is there, any Patriots hater, no matter what you say to them, they're going to go, yeah, but you had the camera thing and now this, and you know what? Sorry. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's going to be there. And that's, I think, the point Zach's trying to make, is that I don't really believe that the pounds per square inch of the football had a whole lot to do with the Patriots beating the Colts. It's an unfortunate thing that one of the greatest teams of all time in any sport is going to have this specter hanging over them in everything they do.
When people look back at this era of New England Patriots history, they're going to look back and sure, you might see, accused of cheating, and that's going to taint their accomplishments. But then if anyone actually takes the time to actually look at that era of football and say, oh, well, you know what? They still beat the shit out of the Colts in ways that the football did not factor into. So maybe it wasn't that big of a deal.
Somebody had Kurt Warner on their radio show. The first instance of Spygate with the Patriots was the 2001 Super Bowl, where they supposedly taped the Rams walkthrough on the Saturday before. And the NFL has summarily destroyed those tapes, and nobody saw them, and they just said, "Oh, there was nothing on them. You don't need to know what's on the tapes." But somebody asked Kurt Warner, "Do you look back on that game and do you have some sort of doubt now that they beat you fair and square?" And he says, "Of course. Well, now that we have that, there's doubt. Now that we don't know what's on the tape, we know that they deflate footballs now. Who knows if they did then, or what other things they do to try and skirt the rules? Sure, there's doubt that they did it fair and square, and that's the point. And especially in because this isn't a court of law that we're trying to convict these guys in. It's a court of public opinion, and so no matter what, even if it comes out the Patriots are exonerated of this and that they didn't actually do anything, they will still, in the court of public opinion, people will still say, it'll still be there that they were accused, and they'll think of them as cheaters.
I'm going to bring the O.J. Simpson case into this because I think it makes a very good point about the whole thing. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in a criminal trial. There wasn't enough evidence there, I guess, in the minds of the jury. I don't know what the hell they were watching, but they decided there wasn't enough evidence there to definitively say, yes, he was guilty. But in the civil trial, he was found guilty of everything because you didn't need as much evidence to convict in a civil trial. Point being, would the Patriots lose and be convicted in a criminal trial right now? Probably not. Would they lose a civil trial? Absolutely. I think that's the difference here. It's that, we don't have the smoking gun, but if they had to take this to a civil trial, if they were being sued by someone, they lose, hands down, no problem. And it's a shame that, A, this is what we're talking about going into the Super Bowl, but B, that all their accomplishments are going to be tainted with all this nonsense over the years.
I would disagree that the accomplishments are tainted. This era of Patriots football, however you want to define it, let's just call it the Belichick-Brady era, since I think those are the two most consistent pieces of this 15-year-long, 14-year.
Call it the Vince Wilfork era, but nobody seems to want to get on board with that.
Chad Ochocinco era.
This is a team that is going to their 6th Super Bowl. They're either going to go 3 for 6 or they're going to go 4 for 6, depending on how the game this Sunday plays out. Even if they go 3 for 6 and they end up losing, just look at that. In the modern era, in this era of NFL football, making it to 6 Super Bowls, winning 3 of them, I'm sorry, that is not something that you can just write off as...
No,
you cannot successfully cheat your way to 6.
I absolutely.
That's what makes this all the more frustrating.
Right, I absolutely agree 100%. Yeah.
Why do they need to tape the other team's signals? Why do they need to mess around with the footballs? Why do they need to do any of this crap? They don't have to, but they continually do it.
Why do the Patriots have to mess with the footballs? I can't give you that answer, just like I can't give you the answer of why Aaron Rodgers likes to mess around with the footballs, why the Panthers like to mess around with their footballs. I can't give you an answer why Brad Johnson, before I think it was Super Bowl 37.
Yeah, but even take it, sure, we have it. Everybody messes with the footballs, and we can't.
Look, we all like to play with our balls, okay?
What about the fact that they videotaped the other team's signals, videotaped walkthroughs? Mm-hmm. Things that are clearly illegal by the NFL's bylaws. Whatever.
If you ask me as a football fan, as a sports fan, I look at that team and I see one of the greatest teams of all time. Does this taint their accomplishments for me? No, it probably not, because I think that all three of us are smart enough to get past the initial stuff and look at it and go, yeah, regardless of whatever they did, they were still really, really good. But the fact remains is that whether we agree with it or not, this is going to hang over them and everything they've done. It may not be right. It may not even be accurate, but it's still going to be there. And that's what I think. That's what my point's been all along. That's what I don't like about it. Do I care that they deflated the footballs? If that game had been 21-20 and a last-second TD by Brady was a difference in the AFC Championship, then maybe I might say, oh, you know what? There might be something to this. Maybe Andrew Luck goes out and goes 10 for 48 in passing because he's playing with the regular football, and Brady's got like his 80% completion percentage. Then, yeah, I look at it and go, okay, this is a problem. But as it stands right now, I don't think they had anything to do with it. But I hate the fact that one of the great teams that I was able to be alive to say I saw has this hanging over them. I just don't like that, and it's their own damn fault.
I don't know. I just find it like we have Brad Johnson, quarterback for the Buccaneers. I think it was Super Bowl 37, who has actually gone on record saying he paid a ball boy to scuff up the Buccaneers footballs before that game.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I just find it that people are ready, and there are people out there who are ready, who are crying about how we need to start taking Super Bowl wins away from the Patriots, and yet, we actually have a case where a quarterback has come out and said, before the championship game, I paid someone to mess with our footballs to give us a perceived advantage, and no one cares. And is it because it's the Bucs? Because it's like this fucking hapless team that no one gives a shit about? I don't know.
Brad Johnson.
But again, that's my point. That's my point. I can't tell you guys why the Patriots, for whatever reason, feel the need to mess with their footballs. I can't tell you that. But I do know that people being outraged about it like they are, unless you're ready to start yelling about Brad Johnson and the Buccaneers in Super Bowl 37 or Aaron Rodgers admitting, yeah, I overinflate the footballs and sometimes the refs catch it and sometimes they don't, then I just don't see the outrage.
The thing that compounds that is if this was the other team, if this was the Seahawks being accused of it, it wouldn't even be a thing at this point. It's the fact that it's the Patriots. It's the fact that they have a history of nefarious things on their side of the ledger. It all adds into it. In a vacuum, yes. Scuffing the footballs, everybody does it, not a big deal. But it's the Patriots' history that comes into it. Mm-hmm. But really, and this whole thing gets to another part, which I think we touched on a little bit last week. This shouldn't even be an issue.
Exactly.
Why does the NFL allow this to happen? And again, I keep referencing Simmons because I listened to it just like an hour ago. But Tom Brady and my own favorite quarterback, Peyton Manning, they were two quarterbacks that lobbied hard against the NFL to allow quarterbacks to have their own footballs to their advantage. Now, why did the NFL even allow that to happen? Now, there's always been the different kicker balls because I guess it's harder to kick a regular football or some garbage.
No, it's because the kickers did exactly what the quarterbacks do. They were making the footballs. They were marked like when we have to kick a field goal, use this ball. And they got them set up to their preference. And in order to try to cut down on some of the field goal accuracy and all that, my understanding of it anyway is that they made them kick a ball they didn't have access to. That's why we have kicker balls.
Imagine if two baseball teams got to use their own baseball.
Oh, God. It'd be great.
Do you realize the ridiculous outrage there'd be? Mm-hmm. Some guys would have like baseballs covered in mustard. And they'd be throwing these things.
Well, back in the day, back in the early 20th century, they were allowed to do just that.
Yeah, and
Eddie Seacott, a pitcher for the 1919 White Sox, had what he called the shine ball. It was like he had that thing. I mean, he could make it sing as he threw it. It had so much shit all over it.
Teams would beat the crap out of their balls because if it was soft, then it would be harder for the other team to hit. So. You know, but no, I agree with you. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the NFL, considering how much money there is involved and considering how much the quote-unquote integrity of the game has to be maintained because of that money.
This is also a league that fines people for their socks not being the correct length.
Exactly. You'd think that they'd have someone to ensure, someone who basically gets the balls, has them all to league specifications, and the teams don't get to interact with them. The teams just show up, and they're like, okay, this is the ball you're using.
You've got a league that is so concerned, like your socks have to be a certain length, your uniform everything has to be so...
You have to talk to the media, damn it.
Right, but when it comes to the footballs, do whatever you want. That doesn't even make any sense. The simple solution to this, and so that it never happens again, is to do what baseball does. And here, okay, we're going to provide 24 footballs for this game. These are the ones you use. If you like them, great. If you don't, too bad. That's the way it goes.
It's not just baseball, though. I mean, hockey team. I know in hockey, a lot of teams have their own branded pucks, and they have the logos of the home team on them. But I'm pretty sure that they are maintained by the NHL and not the teams themselves.
Yeah, they're maintained by the guys that sit in the penalty box.
Yeah,
they have a fridge of hockey pucks sitting in the penalty box.
And in basketball, I know that the league controls the basketballs. So
they put the game balls at center court, and the referee stands right next to them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, there are two sports of the big four where having the ability to manipulate the ball can provide an absolute advantage, and they're football and it's baseball.
Right, because those are also the only two sports where the offense directly competes against the defense. There's no back and forth.
Right.
Like there is
I mean, you could do something with a puck all you want, but unless you can guarantee that your team's going to keep possession of it the whole time it's out there,
you can play with a triangular puck.
Yeah,
that means everybody has to play with a triangular puck.
Right. And so that would solve the problem. It's just
like if all the footballs were deflated, then fine. All the footballs are deflated, and it's equal playing field. And sorry, but
I just don't think I've thrown a deflated football. I don't think it's that easy to throw, honestly. It's probably easier to catch.
You can kind of dig your fingers into a deflated football so you know you have the grip on it.
Well, it'd probably be a lot tougher to fumble, too, with a deflated football.
Yeah, that's the other thing that adds in those that we didn't talk about is somebody did like a study, and the Patriots are the least fumbly football team over the last 15 years.
Well, imagine that.
And also, they seem to fumble a hell of a lot less at home than on the road. I wonder what could be the reasons. It couldn't be because they all have super strong forearms. More, their forearms are stronger than everybody else in the league, or they have stronger hands or better gloves. Let's see, what could be the difference? Oh, maybe it's the footballs.
My only answer to that is if they have been doing this for 15 years, then it's taken 15 years to get to the point where someone said, okay, let's look into this.
Well, the other thing about it is, like, maybe there's a lot of teams that never like I don't know what the reaction to some of the players like inside the league is to this, but it's one of those things where like if it's something everybody does it and they all know it's against the rules, but then there's one guy that calls them out and says, "Hey,
right,
well that guy did it illegally," and then it's like, dude, shut up, Mike, you're a teacher, you know this. If you go into class and you go through the whole class period and you haven't collected the homework yet, so everyone's like, oh, well, the guys that didn't do the homework, they're like, well, maybe he's not going to collect it today.
And then there's always the one kid who's
and then there's like two. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're done for the day. Some stupid kid raises his hand.
Yep.
And says, aren't we going to have this thing? And everyone just, shut up. Shut up.
Oh, yeah, that's
shut
right.
And then everybody gets in trouble because nobody did the homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that was brought up on the Kramer boards that I wanted to run by you guys was that how great would it have been if the Packers had managed to hold on and win that game? Because
I think it would have been really great.
As it is right now, the narrative is sort of like, oh, well, the Patriots are dirty cheaters. But then it's like, well, the Seahawks are a bunch of loudmouth assholes who nobody likes. So it kind of comes.
Right.
So
nobody wants to root for either of these teams right now.
Yeah,
no.
It's like, well, if the Packers would have won, then they would have been Team Justice.
Right. There is no justice to be had in this game.
No.
I still don't know, honestly. And I'm past the point where I don't want to watch it anymore. That took a while, but
actually, you know what? All this kind of talk, and now that we're in the week of, I'm kind of excited. I kind of want to watch the game just to see what happened.
We've gone through the 5 stages of mourning, and now we're back and ready to actually not only watch the Super Bowl, but look forward to seeing it. See, it works. It's always the same every time.
Think about this, though. Just the opportunity, at least from a historical perspective, that the Seahawks lined up. Last year, they beat Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
This year, they can beat Tom Brady. If they can win back-to-back, beating 2 of the best quarterbacks of their era in succession, I think 2 in a row is a bit early to be calling dynasty, but they definitely would have written their own page in history if they can win 2 Superbacks against 2 of the most dominant quarterbacks of the era.
I'm watching. I changed the channel and I have NBCSN on, and they have Pro Football Talk on, so they're live in Super Bowl Square or whatever. In the background, there was a man walking around with an Emmitt Smith Franken jersey, half cowboy, half cardinal.
Wow.
I kind of want that. I kind of want it.
Ugh.
I hate Franken jerseys, but I kind of want that one.
That horse that A.J. Hawk dated back when he was at Ohio State had one of those.
Brady Quinn's sister.
Right.
It's not Sarah Jessica Parker bad, but
okay. It was pretty bad. The only thing she was lacking was a feed bag. I mean, for God's sakes. Anyway.
No, Franken jerseys are one of my biggest jersey pet peeves.
Oh, they're stupid. And what a waste of money.
Yeah, you buy 2 jerseys to cut them in half.
Right.
I mean, you got to assume that there's a partner somewhere else with the other halves, like switched, right? You know my hatred for the LA Kings at this point. You go to Ducks Kings games, and there are people with half Ducks, half Kings jerseys.
Oh, you can't do that. You cannot do that.
No, you can't.
Not at that level. You can like both teams, that's fine, but not at the wear a jersey with both teams level. You can't. That's against the rules.
I went to
especially rival. Yeah, especially rival.
In Staples Center, and there was a guy with the 2000s LA Kings jersey with the purple shoulders and all that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
With Ryan Getzlaf's name and number on the back. And he's like, oh, I'm a Kings fan, but I really appreciate Ryan Getzlaf's talent. What?
No, if you're enough of a fan of a team to invest the money to buy a jersey, you cannot, under any circumstances, do the Franken jersey.
If I were a Kings fan, I'd rock a Felix Potvin jersey.
I always joke if I was ever going to get a Kings jersey, it needs to be either Dan Cloutier or Roman Turek.
Oh, Roman Turek. Oh, that's a name.
No. If I'm going to do a Kings jersey, I'm doing Rogie Vachon. That's who I'm doing.
No.
Yeah.
No, because Rogie Vachon actually has some legitimacy to him. I need a Jamie Storr purple jersey with a big gray collar, just so I can have the worst bits of Kings history.
Oh, Jamie Storr. I remember him.
Of course.
He had dragons on his mask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like...
He showed up for Rob Blake's jersey retirement ceremony. And
really?
laughed.
Was he invited, or did he just show up?
No, they invited him, and they gave them all the current Kings jersey to wear, which was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But Jamie Storr, it's like Jamie
illustrious
Storr.
alumni of the Los Angeles Kings.
Right.
But that period from around around the time Gretzky left to like the mid 2000s was absolutely fantastic in all the wrong ways for the Los Angeles Kings.
Jamie Storr, Adam Denmarsh, Jason Allison, Zygmunt Palffy, Matthias Nordstrom was the captain for a long time. The Kings just went back-to-back great captains. Matthias Nordstrom to Dustin Brown. Anyway, the Franken jersey got us off track.
I want to do Media Day.
You want to talk about Media Day?
Here's the thing. They were talking about this on Dan Patrick today with Media Day. You got to go one of two ways with it. You've either got to make it a complete joke and it's just all for fun, or you got to kind of rein it in a little bit. And he brought up a really good idea of okay, maybe this would be a good thing to let like people like you, Zach, that are in college.
I listened to him this morning.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do one or two things with it. You can't have it try to be both, where it's a serious thing and then it's also this big goof.
Well, especially with it being in Arizona State's journalism school, Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, it's renowned as one of the better ones, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys in that school that would love to go. Yeah,
I already decided, too, that if you guys want to, I can get us the credentials next year for Super Bowl Media Day. We just have to show up. I don't know where it's being played, but...
next year it's in Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, yeah.
That's not a bad place to go in the wintertime. All right, so we'll get the credentials and go next year for Media Day.
All I need to know is what kind of tree everyone is.
What kind of tree? Tom Brady, what kind of tree do you feel like?
I'm a cherry tree.
Anyway, should we get to the game itself?
I was chopped down and lied about it.
The game itself?
Yeah.
I'm actually expecting a repeat of last year's game, actually. I think the Seahawks are just going to bitch slap them.
I'm kind of in the same boat you are with that. I'd like to see a competitive game, but if you remember, we were all talking the same thing last year about the Broncos and their offense, and look what happened. I think the Seahawks win easily.
I don't know about easily. I think this is going to be a close game. The thing that still bothers me is I don't know if Seattle has the offense. If their defense comes out and plays like they can, then of course then I think they have the upper hand easily. It's still going to be a close game, but they'll have the upper hand. They'll be in control of the game. If they come out and have a first half like they did against Green Bay, New England's not a team that's going to let you do that again. They will keep throwing. They will keep the foot on the cleat on your neck and stomp down.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is not going to be one to let up if given the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's something to think about.
If Seattle, if Russell Wilson thinks he can play like he did against Green Bay, then they're going to be in big trouble. But But if they can keep themselves contained and just take the easy plays and kind of grind it out, that's the way I think they have to do. The Seattle offense has to hold the ball and kind of grind it out a little bit, and their defense is going to do what they're going to do. So
the big question to me is Seattle's offense, because their defense is lights out, but their offense it's never struck me as impressive.
If they get rolling, they get good, but they've got to get rolling first, and they're not. You can't guarantee they're always going to do that.
I mean, the best way. I mean, I've got this feeling that it's just going to be another Seahawks beatdown, because I think we've kind of swung back to that era where good defense meets good offense. The defense is going to win, but the Pats, I think their best chance to win this game is they've really got to shut down Seattle's lukewarm offense. Seattle's offense can be good when they get rolling, but if you stop them, if you sort of punch them in the teeth, they kind of falter. And I think their best chance at winning this game against Seattle would be to just hamstring Seattle's offense up and then just try to score just enough on that defense to the point where you can win it in like a low-scoring game.
Honestly, I think the key for Seattle is they have to feed Marshawn Lynch. I think if they win, it's going to be because of the defense and because he has a great game. I don't think this is a game Russell Wilson will win for Seattle. This is a game that Marshawn Lynch has to win.
Well, you know, we talk all the time about the Patriots' offense. Isn't their defense pretty solid this year too?
Their defense is solid, but it's not like Seattle level solid.
I don't know anybody's Seattle level solid.
It's not Seattle level solid, but I think it's solid enough that if they're able to get a jump on the Seattle offense early, it's enough. Although if Marshawn Lynch has a good game and the Seahawks win the game off of that, that would be the worst possible scenario because now Marshawn Lynch is possibly the Super Bowl MVP, and now he's got to talk to people.
Right, I know. That's what I want.
Oh, my God. I didn't even think of that. But, yes, we have to have Marshawn Lynch.
What'd you think about you're Super Bowl MVP. You just won the Super Bowl, and you're the MVP. What are you going to do next?
Yeah.
You know, the Disneyland thing, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to say, I'm going to Disneyland. He said, he'll probably say, I'm not going to get fined.
He's going to, yeah.
He has to say that, right?
I would think in order to get the
endorsement,
endorsement, he would have to, yeah.
Technically, it's not the media.
Right, that's true, yeah.
It's the Disneyland guy. He'll do the Disneyland thing. But when they have to interview him as Super Bowl MVP...
That's going to be fantastic.
Because it'll be Dan Patrick doing it, too.
Oh, that'll be fantastic.
He'll be on the podium handing out the trophies, and who knows what Dan Patrick will come up with to talk to him.
It's good that it is Dan Patrick because at least he will have the sense of humor to try to make something out of it, maybe.
Right, yeah.
If it was Joe Buck.
So, Marshawn, how do you feel? Yeah. Fuck you, Marshawn.
Speaking of broadcasters and Bill Simmons, did you listen to Al Michaels?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was fantastic.
I love Al Michaels on the podcast.
Oh, he's great.
Al
Just
is so great.
Yeah.
He's great anywhere.
Mike, if you haven't, you should go listen to the Bill Simmons podcast with Al Michaels. It's worth it just to hear Al Michaels. God, he's been, they're right. I mean, he has been like at everything.
Yeah, he called the greatest moment in world sports history the 1980 Miracle on Ice.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Not only
no response, Mike. No, nothing.
Not only has he done,
he might have been at the Summit Series. I don't know.
The Summit Series was covered by the real hockey experts. So
Barry Melrose.
Well, I mean, at the time, Al Michaels was ABC's hockey expert. That's why he got to do the game.
My favorite part was listening to him do bowling. I had no idea he'd ever done bowling. That cracked me up.
Yeah.
But it was just a fantastic. I mean, not just
and he was in Miami Vice.
No, it was Hawaii Five-0.
Hawaii Five-0?
Right, yeah. He was, what was his name? Dave Bronstein?
Yeah.
Dave Bronstein, public defender. Yeah, it was great.
I didn't know that he did that.
Yeah.
I meant to look that up on YouTube. I'm going to do that when we're done.
Again, if I ever get to meet Al Michaels, I want to ask him what it's like to have been traded for a cartoon rabbit.
Well, funny you bring that up. Yeah.
They asked him about it.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he say?
The rabbit had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. The rabbit was just a kind of like a throw-in at the last minute or something.
That sounds like a man desperately trying to tell himself that he was not traded for a cartoon rabbit.
No, because what had happened was everybody's contracts was running out, but his with ABC was still there. Everybody was going over to NBC, John Madden, and the whole production team. Mm-hmm. And Al Michaels didn't want to go with a whole new team, so he told the guys like, "Hey, I want to go over to NBC just to stay with my crew." And so they worked out a deal and they had everything done. But then I think it was for like PR purposes. They put in the rabbit at the end just to have it there.
It was kind of a throw-in, but I think he even said it makes a better story if it's just him straight up for the rabbit or something like that. They explained it in that those guys have all the fun. The ESPN book, they talk about that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think Al Michaels talked about it in his book, which I still have to get.
Yeah, I want to get it too. But just on that whole thing, ESPN, I think that was when Mark Shapiro was running things too. Their hubris was such that they botched that NFL deal so badly. That's why we had such shitty Monday night games for so long. They screwed themselves so hard in that deal that they were left with nothing when it was all said and done because NBC stepped in and was like, hey, if they don't want it, we'll take it. And that's how the whole thing went down, basically.
And basically, had ESPN played their cards right, they could have gotten both packages, right, for what they ended up paying for just Monday?
They could have had both the Sunday and Monday night packages for the same price they paid for that shitty Monday night package they had for like 5 years.
I loved it. I think it was Chris Berman who on one of the Monday night pregame shows was like, yeah, we're going to get a good game one of these days. Like, pure chance one of these football games will turn into a competitive, interesting game. Where's my basically a football show where you guys go over the Pro Bowl?
We gave the Pro Bowl the exact amount of attention it deserved with basically a football
It was
show.
actually a low-scoring Pro Bowl, too, so disappointment on all fronts.
Wasn't it kind of a pretty good game, though? I only watched enough to see the uniforms.
I think it was like 29-24.
Something like that.
So on the uniforms, congratulations, Greg. Those are going to probably be more or less what the new Cleveland Browns look like.
Joe Thomas was on the orange team, too.
Yeah.
So he's wearing the Browns helmet with the jerseys. It was like, oh no!
Someone posted.
And then there was controversy, like the Browns Instagram put up a picture of a mini helmet,
right?
And because of the way the lighting was, like white face mask, textured helmets. It's like no, just a
regular helmet,
just a mini helmet.
Well, people posted a bunch of other pictures of that same mini helmet that were just clearly a gray face mask with the regular helmet,
right?
And then some people were like, well, maybe they brought two.
By the way, guys. Before we move to the tabs, one final thing. We are now officially, exactly to the minute, 4 days away from Super Bowl 49.
All right.
Woo-hoo!
We didn't do prop bets.
Are there any weird ones?
Not really. Just like, there's a couple. I think there's one about Katy Perry's boobs, but that's about it.
I wouldn't need money in that victory. I would just, if it happened, we would win.
Yeah, sure. There's no way to lose on that one, really.
I don't want it to happen because if it does happen, then we're going to get what happened after the last wardrobe malfunction where they just roll out a bunch of old white rockers who pose no threat to sensibilities whatsoever. When you think about it, like a boob slip is the worst thing that can happen now because the NFL overreacts to such a degree that the halftime shows just end up sucking for a decade.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. If the trade-off is getting Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers for the next 5 years, I'll take it. I will make that deal right now.
Okay.
But, just really quick on that, why didn't the Eagles ever do the halftime show? I mean, you talk about the perfect old white guy band.
Because you have to get all the Eagles together.
Yeah, well, they tour all the time. I'm just saying. Did we give our Super Bowl picks or not?
Yes, I think we all think
we all kind of leaned where we were going to. Yeah, we're all leaning towards the Seahawks.
All right, let's pick scores.
So we're all on the Seahawks.
Let's see. Yeah, that means, well, congratulations, Patriots. You just won the Super Bowl. But,
from the minds that brought you the New Orleans Saints as a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. They were in contention for a little while.
They were only in contention because the rest of the division was terrible.
Hey, man,
doesn't matter.
They were alive. They were still alive.
That's right.
We were almost not wrong about the Buccaneers either. So.
All right. So anyway, real quick, let's do scores just in case one of us gets lucky and gets it exactly right. Mike, what's the score going to be?
I'm going to go with my gut, which says that the Seahawks are just going to, monkey stomp them.
Okay.
And I'm thinking 35-14 Seattle.
Zach?
28-24 Seahawks.
Okay. 37-20 Seahawks.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to the dairy farmers of Ontario.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Stephen Harper.
Mr. Harper, please do something about this bagged milk situation.
Well, you got to admit, Mike, especially when you consider the fact that that orange juice and that type of thing comes in a regular carton, the milk in a bag thing is a bit peculiar.
If everything was in bags, then I just understand that you're a backwards country. But now that I know that the juice also comes in cartons, then what the hell?
Well, just to kind of throw another log on the fire here, there's an article. I did a milk in a bag search on Google. The Ottawa Citizen, okay, this is the headline. Jugs or bags, the milk debate rages on.
Well, we can't go with cartons and jugs, because if we go with cartons and jugs, then we're just giving in to American cultural imperialism.
That's what this is. That's what this is.
The bag is a proud Canadian tradition.
Is every bag stamped with a maple leaf?
It should be if it's not already.
Are the bags in the shape of maple leaves? No, wait, they couldn't have a shape because that would give you some structural integrity that the bag lacks.
The bag is a proud tradition right up there with Nickelback.
Wow.
And
I just want Nickelback and Alanis Morissette to chug bags of milk on stage at the halftime of the Grey Cup next year.
I want them to do it at the Super Bowl. Forget the Grey Cup. I want everybody to see that. Perhaps the biggest difference between the United States and Canada, or at least in Quebec and Ontario, isn't universal health care, the metric system, or a parliamentary system of government. It's milk. South of the border, milk is served in a large plastic gallon, but in Ontario and Quebec, the beverage that does your body good comes in liter-sized plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
Proponents of the bag method argue it spoils less easily since you only need to open 1 liter at a time, and that individual bags are much less heavy than 3 or 4 liter jugs. But those who grew up in the land of the free, the bags seem downright socialist.
Yeah.
Oh, so now the cartons and jugs represent freedom.
Wait, hold on. So the bags are just a liter?
Yeah, they're not.
So it's a quart.
Yeah.
We drink freedom milk down here, damn it, in jugs like it's supposed to be.
We drink milk in larger quantities, thus have stronger bones, thus world domination, thus suck at Canada.
Okay, so if Americans have stronger bones, then how come your hockey team can't win shit?
It doesn't mean the sticks are stronger.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
We'll start off with something sad. This is kind of for you, Greg. Ernie Banks.
Yeah.
Mr. Cub.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yep. One of the all-time greats. I was thinking about him the other day, and I thought, he managed to have an outstanding Hall of Fame career playing with a team that really wasn't very good, and I thought, where would he be right now if he'd played for, say, the Yankees or the Cardinals, or just a team that was in contention all the time? Wow.
Yeah, you know what ignominious record he has? Most games played without playing in a playoff game.
Yeah. But, yeah, one of the all-time greats. It's a shame. Really a great ambassador for the game of baseball, and just if you don't like Ernie Banks, then you have no heart. That's all I can say.
Let's play two.
Let's play two, exactly.
You see Mark Brunell almost cry on TV?
No.
They were talking about the integrity of the footballs, and Mark Brunell kind of got choked up on the ESPN set. It was kind of ridiculous.
He got choked up over the integrity of a football.
Yeah.
It's that tugs at the heartstrings, Mike. Come on. Let me think about it for a minute. You got to think about it for a long time.
He's more kind of choked up that maybe Tom Brady might be lying to us.
Is that really what he's got choked up about?
Yeah.
What a pansy.
There's also Zach Parise got a tooth knocked out and picked it up off the ice.
Why? Because
he's a hockey player.
He's a hockey player. That's right.
And he's a Minnesotan. goddammit.
That's right.
Sorry, I cursed. The last thing. It's a sad day for humankind this week, guys.
It's always a sad day for humankind these days.
Sky Mall has filed for bankruptcy.
No. But Sky Mall is like my favorite thing about flying, besides the actual flying.
Have either of you purchased anything from Sky Mall?
I've always wanted to, but I never have, actually.
I haven't, but looking through the magazine is like the highlight of any trip.
Oh, it's incredible.
Well, as Sky Mall is sure to come to a close soon, we have to go through some of the best products Sky Mall brought to us. Hold on, let me better...
Where the road goes.
First off, let me correct you. Every product in Sky Mall is the greatest product. Every product.
Oh, wait, now that I remember it, I never purchased anything from Sky Mall, but I think my mom actually purchased something from Sky Mall for the family dog.
Hey.
There's things like Italian globes that open up to be wine bars.
Oh, I want that.
That's a classic.
Ooh, one of my favorites is the Nap Anywhere pillow.
Yeah, that's an awesome product.
There's one where it's a strap on your shoulder, or the big triangular thing that you throw on your folding tray table. That's the difference of good. Of course, the garden ornaments.
The great white shark sculpture is a classic.
Yeah. There's luggage racks, phone chargers, dog raincoats.
The dog raincoat, that's got to be one of the all-time greats, right?
Tree faces with sports.
The pup step plus pet stairs.
The dog stairs.
Right.
Are always great, yes. Deep sea diver helmet. Those iron.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They need to bring those back. Scuba helmets, scuba masks just don't have the same aura to them.
If you click on the link below that one, it says 15 most ridiculous garden statues from Sky Mall.
Oh, come on. I think the Roswell alien or the flying saucer one's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That alien thing brought up a good point that I've always thought of. Whenever they depict aliens in these, sci-fi movies,
right?
Why are they never wearing clothes?
The ancient astronaut
theory that's a good question.
Like, you think if they were an advanced society,
No, they're so advanced they've moved beyond modesty.
Right.
They don't care anymore.
A giant gorilla. Velociraptor.
Yeah, Velociraptor would be bad.
I'd get the Velociraptor.
I think the freaky one is Nature's Hands Baby.
Yeah! Yes.
That's just weird looking.
Yeah, it's hands with wings around it and a half baby.
If you put that, if you just sat out that and a vajankle, and that was I don't know how anyone would even describe that, what they've just seen. Render anyone wordless with the nature's hand baby and the vajankle. See?
I don't.
I'm just saying. And on that note,
I mean,
see? That's what I'm saying. It would just be the weirdest. Would it not be the weirdest thing you've ever seen if those two things were just sitting in a yard side by side? Without comment, without anything, they're just there. I'm just saying, that's a pretty bizarre-looking little thing here. No wonder Sky Mall went out of business, for Pete's sake. He's still working on it.
You went somewhere with that, Greg.
I know. I'm just saying that I think that these are the two weirdest things I've ever seen. You put them together, and there you go.
Sure.
Like, say you got a porch, right, with steps. You set one on one side of the steps and one on the other, and you just leave them there without comment. That's all.
I don't know. I could just leave that whole thing without comment.
Well, anyway, are we ready to call it a day?
I believe so.
All right. You can follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Go to the website, basicallyasportshow.com. Subscribe to the show on iTunes and Stitcher and Spreaker. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We'll see you next time right here on Basically a Sports Show.
See ya.
Go Asteroid.
Please hang up and try again.